I was staring at my phone. An email from my sister, Megan. The subject line just said, "Thanksgiving Gala, final payment." I opened it. There was no "Hi, Ava." "Nah, hope you're doing well." Just 4 words. "Ava, handle this." Attached was an invoice, $25,000 for the caterer. For their party, the annual charity gala I wasn't even invited to as a guest. Just as the junior committee helped, I just sat there, reading those 4 words over and over. "Ava, handle this." In that moment, something inside me didn't just break. It didn't crack. It went cold. Have you ever felt like the invisible checkbook in your own family, the one they only call when they need something? Let me know your story down in the comments. I'd love to know I'm not alone. My world is this. This view, my penthouse in Brickell, overlooking the bay. Every morning, I stand here with my black coffee, and I watch the sunrise hit the glass towers. It's quiet. It's mine. I built my marketing analytics firm from nothing, from just an idea and a laptop. This place, this is the symbol of the success I built, alone. But then there's my other life, the one 40 minutes south in Coral Gables, the old money estate where I grew up. It's a beautiful house, all sprawling lawns and old, heavy furniture. But it always felt cold. My father, Robert, and my mother, Linda, are obsessed with social status, with appearing successful, and my sister, Megan. She's the golden child. She's 2 years older than me, and her greatest accomplishment is being seen at the right parties. For my entire life, I've been the invisible one, the reliable, quiet one, the one who was good with numbers. I remember Thanksgiving. 2 years ago, I was standing near the fireplace, trying to join a conversation. My mother, Linda, saw a local politician walk in. She physically pushed me aside, just moved me out of the way like I was a piece of furniture. To get to him, she smiled. "Not now, Ava. The important guests are here." I just stood there. For Megan's 35th birthday, I was the one who donated $40,000 for the party. My father, Robert, actually framed it like that. He said it was a family investment in Megan's social standing. And the loans. Oh, the loans. A text here, a call there. $10,000 for the property taxes, $20,000 to cover a bad investment of Robert's, $5,000 for Megan's car repairs. It was always a crisis, always urgent. Over the last 10 years, I've added it up. It's over $250,000. And my own successes. When I closed my first $1 million client, I called them so excited. I was almost shaking. My father said, "That's nice. Ava, now, about that caterer's bill for the spring luncheon." They didn't see my company. They saw an ATM. I had to learn why they were like this, why this one party mattered so much. And I finally found the answer. It's a psychological concept called the empty facade. My family, they run on something called narcissistic supply. That Thanksgiving gala, it wasn't about charity. It was never about giving back. It was their stage. It was a performance of wealth and status that they needed to survive. Every part of it, the expensive flowers, the $200 a bottle champagne, the fake smiles for the local press, it was all just a prop. The 100 VIP guests weren't friends. They were just an audience. there to applaud and reflect back the image of power my family so desperately needed. And I was the one paying for the props. I looked back at the email. Ava, handle this. $25,000. For their supply, the old me would have cried. The old me would have felt that familiar heavy ache of being invisible. The old me would have transferred the money just to keep the peace. But as I sat there, in my quiet penthouse, staring at the screen, I didn't feel sadness. I felt clarity. This wasn't a family request. This was an invoice for a performance I wasn't even allowed to watch. I didn't open my banking app. Instead, I opened an encrypted drive on my laptop. It's a drive I use for my most sensitive corporate clients. It's a digital vault. I created a new folder. I typed the name Gala Evidence. I saved the email. I saved the $25,000 invoice. Then I went to my texts. I scrolled up to last week. My father, Robert, Ava, we're upgrading the champagne tower. Need that, 5,000 by Friday. I screenshotted it. I saved it to the folder. This wasn't an emotional breakdown. It was the beginning of a forensic audit. My plan wasn't to confront them. I wasn't going to scream or cry or beg them to see me. No, I was going to document. I was going to let them build their beautiful, empty stage. And then I was going to pull the plug. My plan wasn't just to say no. That would be a fight. I was done fighting for them to see me. My plan was to let them build their own stage. And then simply not pay for the lights. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I pulled up the email to Megan. I typed out a reply. It was short. Of course, Megan. Anything for the family? I even added a little red heart emoji. I hit send. My internal monologue was sharp. Let them think I'm the same stupid, compliant puppet they'd always known. Let them feel safe. Let them build their stage. The moment that email was sent, the first move was made. I closed the email tab and opened a new document. The title I typed was My Friendsgiving Guest List. The next few days were a blur of two parallel worlds. The first world was theirs, the gala. I watched it all unfold on social media. Megan's Instagram was a non-stop performance. Stories of her personally selecting $200 a bottle champagne. With the hashtag only the best. My mother, Linda, posted a sneak peek of the exclusive 100-person guest list, calling it Miami's finest. I was still CC'd on the event's email chain. So I saw the RSVPs. They were all transactions. Will valet be provided? Will the press be there? I'm representing the new gallery. Delighted. What is the expected donation level this year? It was all about what they could get. Then there was my world, my Friendsgiving. I sat on my couch, overlooking the bay, and I made 2 calls. The first was to a private chef I'd hired for a corporate retreat. I need you to create a menu that feels like a hug. I told him. I paid the $20,000 invoice from my business account. The second call was to a local jazz trio. I designed my invitation myself. It was a simple, elegant digital card. It said, "You're invited to a Friendsgiving. Let's eat, drink, and be grateful for the family we choose." I sent it to 30 people. Not 100, 30. The responses started coming in within minutes. And they weren't transactions. They were relational. From my old mentor, Ava. I wouldn't miss it for the world. You're my family. From my neighbor, I'm bringing my famous rum cake. I don't care what your chef says. From a young woman I'd mentored, I am so honored to be included. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I looked at the two worlds. My family's built on status and what people could do for them, and mine built on, well, on love. The stage was set, and they had no idea they were the only ones on it. I was in my office, moving the $20,000 from my business account to my personal one to pay my private chef. A formality. My accountant called. His name is Ben, and he's meticulous. Ava, he said, and his voice sounded off. This new draw on your credit line is high. I just wanted to flag it before the end of the quarter. I froze. My hand was still on the mouse. What draw? Ben, I haven't drawn anything. There was a silence on his end. Then the sound of clicking. Ava, there's a loan, $300,000, taken against your company's credit line 3 months ago. I couldn't breathe. What? That's impossible. I'd know if I took a $300,000 loan. Well, that's the thing, Ben said, his voice lowering. The signature? It's digital, but it's yours and the cosigner. The cosigner is your father, Robert. He sent me the file. I opened it. There it was, $300,000. And my signature, or not my signature. It was close. It was a good forgery. But I knew I had never signed that. My blood didn't just run cold. It stopped. This wasn't just being the family ATM anymore. This wasn't just emotional abuse or being overlooked or being called the help. This was fraud. This was a crime. My own father had forged my signature. He had stolen $300,000 from my company to fund his failing real estate ventures, all while asking me for an extra $5,000 for a champagne tower. The world just tilted. The air in my penthouse suddenly felt thin. I was holding onto my desk to stay upright. And right on cue, as if the universe had a sick sense of humor, my phone rang. My mother, Linda. I stared at the name. I hit speakerphone. I don't even know why. Her voice was tight, high-pitched. Ava, the caterer just called me. Me? Can you believe it? They say they haven't received payment. I looked at the fraudulent loan document on my screen, the $300,000, and I looked at my phone, listening to her panic over $25,000. My voice came out, and I didn't even recognize it. It was calm. It was ice. Oh, that's strange. I said, I paid my caterer weeks ago. There was a long, static silence on the line. Paid. Your caterer. It was 3 days before Thanksgiving. My phone rang. My mother, Linda. Her voice was high, tight, vibrating with a panic she was desperately trying to control. Ava, honey, the caterer just called me. Me. Can you believe the unprofessionalism? They say they haven't received payment. I was sitting on my balcony, watching a boat cut through the water. I took a sip of my coffee. Oh, that's strange, I said, my voice breezy, light. I paid my caterer weeks ago. There was a beat of pure, static silence. I could almost hear her trying to process my words. Paid. Your caterer? Yes, I said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. For my Friendsgiving, was I supposed to pay for yours? She hung up. An hour later, My building security buzzed. My sister, Megan, was in the lobby, and she was not on the guest list. I told them to send her up. I wanted to see this. The elevator doors opened, and she stormed out. She didn't even wait for me to open my apartment door. She just pushed past me as I unlocked it. Her face was a deep, blotchy red. "What the hell is this?" she yelled. She was literally shaking. "You're ruining everything," Mom is crying. "The caterer is threatening to pull out." I just stood there by the door, watching her. I didn't feel intimidated. I didn't feel hurt. I felt nothing. Just a cold, quiet observation. "I'm ruining what?" "Megan," I asked. "The gala. Our family's gala." "I don't think I am," I said. "I'm not paying $25,000 for a party I'm not invited to." She sputtered. "Of course you're invited. You're on the committee." I almost laughed. "Exactly," I said. "The help?" "And the help just quit." I pointed to the door. "You should leave." She stared at me, her mouth open, as if she was seeing me for the first time. As if the ATM had suddenly started talking back, she turned and stormed back to the elevator. Jabbing the button, my phone rang again. Not even 10 minutes later. This time, it was the king. My father, Robert. I picked up. No hello. Just a roar. "You will transfer that money now?" His voice was so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "You will not embarrass this family." I waited for him to finish. The silence that followed was heavy. "Embarrass you," I said. And my voice was pure ice. "Or expose you." Another silence. "By the way, Dad," I continued. I spoke to my accountant. "We need to talk about my signature on a $300,000 loan." I heard it. A sharp intake of breath. A gasp. The line went completely. Utterly silent. And then, click, he hung up. I smiled. I had them. Thanksgiving night. My penthouse was glowing. That's the only word for it. The jazz trio was playing in the corner. 30 of my friends, my real family, were laughing, talking, their faces lit by the warm candlelight. My private chef was plating the most beautiful roasted turkey, and the apartment smelled like sage and rosemary and genuine joy. And then my phone, which I'd left on the kitchen counter, started to light up. A text from a friend who had a cousin who was one of the VIP 100 at the Coral Gables estate. I read the texts as they came in. My friends gathering around me. Text 1. It's 7 p.m. The guests are all here. There is no food. Text 2. Linda is in the kitchen. She's yelling at Robert. Robert is yelling at Megan. The guests can hear everything. I looked up at my own party. My mentor was telling a hilarious story, and my neighbor was passing around her rum cake. Text 3. Oh my God. A guest just overheard the event planner. The caterer didn't just pull out their $10,000 deposit check. Bounced. The public humiliation. It was total. The empty facade had just crumbled in front of all 100 of Miami's finest. Text 4. People are leaving. They're literally walking out. The gala is over before it even started. I put my phone down, face down. The jazz music swelled. My friend raised her glass. To Ava, for bringing us all together. I raised mine. To chosen family. As my party was thriving, as the jazz music filled the room with warmth, A man I didn't recognize approached me. He was older, in a simple, well-tailored suit. "Ava," he asked, "I'm David Chen, your godmother's lawyer. She passed, as you know, but she left me with one final instruction. My godmother, she was the family outcast, the one who left Coral Gables 50 years ago and never looked back, the one my parents called eccentric and irresponsible." He handed me a thick, cream-colored envelope. "She told me to give you this when you were finally ready. After tonight, I believe you are." I opened it. The letter was handwritten, "My dearest Ava." It read, "If you are reading this, it means you've finally decided to break the cage. I was your first seed investor. That $50,000 grant you thought you won for your business plan, that was from me. I set up a trust, not for you to inherit, but for you to use. I needed you to have your own power, your own escape route. I knew what they were. Ava, don't let them break you. Your real life is waiting." I had to sit down. My first $50,000. I thought I'd earned it. But it was a gift. It was protection. It was a life raft. Sent by someone who had seen me, really seen me, all along. I didn't press criminal charges for the $300,000 fraud. I didn't need to. That fraudulent loan document wasn't a weapon for revenge. It was my leverage for freedom. I forced a settlement. My father, Robert, had to pay back every cent of the loan to my company. And he had to buy out my share of the family name, severing every financial tie that had ever bound me to them. I was, finally, free. I finally understand. We spend so much time feeling guilty for wanting to leave the people who hurt us. Just because they share our blood, we're tangled in this idea that family is an obligation, a debt we're born into. But it's not. Real family isn't a debt. It's a choice. And I choose to be with the people who choose me. Have you ever had to build your own family? Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. You deserve to be seen.